Good morning. Welcome to IGTV's early morning call. It's the 2nd of August 2023. Coming up in the show, Fitch has cut the US by one notch to AA plus from AAA or AAA, citing fiscal deterioration, catching investors by surprise. The Bank of Japan's minutes give us some insight to July's tweak as the Bank of Japan debated an inflation overshoot risk. And the earnings deluge continues, with investors eyeing results from Taylor Wimpey, Halion and BAE Systems. More on that in just a moment. First, I want to show you the VIX and also the US dollar basket here, because what a reaction we've seen after that move by Fitch. Now, Fitch, if you haven't caught up with that yet, has cut the US by one notch to AA plus from AAA. Citing fiscal deterioration for its move. We saw the dollar move lower. More on that in just a moment. Let's just have a look at the volatility index, because it has crept slightly higher there, as you can see, ticking up potentially because of that move by Fitch as well. Taking a look at the FTSE, the DAX and the CAC ahead of the open, because US futures also wilted following that move by Fitch. We're seeing quite a broad-based reaction there to that move, and many investors and market watchers surprised and taken aback, because if you recall, the US did manage to solve its debt ceiling crisis again about a few months ago. So it's quite an interesting story that has a global impact. Overnight in Asia, stocks there also traded lower, while US Treasury yields fell as well following that Fitch surprise downgrade. And also wanting to get you up to date with the Wall Street close on Tuesday. That's the picture there. A bit mixed, but do remember that that move by Fitch came after the close. Just checking in on Wall Street ahead of the open. We're a few hours yet, just putting up my chart there. However, we have seen a wilting in terms of futures pointing to a slightly weaker open. Now, back to the dollar. The US dollar moved lower against a basket of major currencies immediately after that announcement by Fitch, but it did regain some composure during Asian trading, just showing you a wider view here. It has had a lot of volatility recently. However, this move by Fitch is an interesting one, because not only did it move the dollar, but it also moved Treasury yields, and also, as I mentioned earlier, other financial instruments, which I'll get you across. Let's just take you through the details. Fitch downgraded the US government's top credit rating to AA plus from AAA because it said of fiscal deterioration over the next 3 years, and repeated down the wire debt ceiling negotiations that threaten the government's ability to pay its bills. This means Fitch is now the second major rating agency after Standard & Poor's has stripped the US of its AAA rating. Several investors and analysts say they expect the impact of the downgrade to be limited, though. As I mentioned earlier, gold is also reacting to the news. Just bringing up spot gold for you on the IG platform. Souring confidence in the US economy tends to show up interest in the safe haven bullion. In terms of reaction elsewhere, we also saw a reaction in terms of the platinum market, although it fell slightly after that news. The Bank of Japan has given us more insight into July's tweak. This is in the form of its minutes. It showed that the board members said domestic inflation might hold above the central bank's 2% target. This gave us some insight into the Bank of Japan's move last week to let some rates rise along with increasing prices. While one member called for a review of the bank's bond yield control policy at an early stage, members agreed that they did not need to do so for now, with market function having improved somewhat. Now, plenty of earnings coming up. We've also got Taylor Wimpey just come through. Just taking a look at the numbers for you now. Taylor Wimpey flagging affordability concerns due to higher mortgage rates. but forecasts that annual UK home build targets, excluding joint ventures, at the upper end of its previous estimate. Britain's third biggest house builder, Taylor Wimpey, said pre-tax profit was £237.7 million for the 6 months ended July 2nd. That's down around 29% from a period a year earlier. Taylor Wimpey, not alone in this, Barrett, Berkeley also have flagged a slump in home sales. And just checking on Haleon as well, because we've also just had numbers out of Haleon. This is the GSK spin-off. Haleon raising its forecast for annual organic revenue growth as the consumer healthcare company says it's confident that demand for its oral and respiratory health products will stick despite this cost of living squeeze. And checking on Ryanair for you as well ahead of the open. Ryanair flew a record number of passengers for the third month in a row in July. The low-cost carrier enjoying the revenge travel, or the continuation of this revenge travel theme. It carried out 18.7 million passengers in what is generally one of the most profitable months of the year. That was up 11% on a year earlier, when a post-pandemic travel rebound was taking shape. Now, Starbucks, one to watch when all sessions gets going on IG. The coffee giant missed market expectations for quarterly comparable sales. This is what you want to look out for on the IG platform. Starbucks is one of the key ones traded by our clients. Demand slowed with some signs of tapering in North America and international markets. However, it must be said that Starbucks, China is its growth market, one of its biggest actually. Demand in China rebounded sharply. Comparable sales there surged 46% in the third quarter. And advanced micro devices, all sessions as well, that starts going in just a few hours. AMD forecasting a strong finish to the year driven by the planned launch of its AI chips. Its chief executive said AMD is set to ramp up the production of its flagship MI300 AI chips in Q4. If you recall, this is the one that is seen as the biggest competition to NVIDIA's equivalent. AMD shares rising around 3% in after-hours trading on that news. As I mentioned earlier, we could see a mirroring of this on the all sessions when this starts going in just a few hours. And last but not least, also want to take you through oil prices, because we've seen a huge amount of volatility in this space recently. There you go, US crude there. Stocks fell 15.4 million barrels according to API data. Markets now counting down to figures from the EIA due at 14:30 GMT. All this coming as demand concerns related to China continue to plague the market. And that's it for now. Don't forget, we've got charting at 10:30 and also our new edition of Beat the Street with me at 13:30 at London time. Before we go, let's have a last look at the equity markets for you. That's the France 40 there. We could be seeing a slightly weaker open for Europe when that starts going because of that surprise US downgrade from Fitch.